The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too.
So tonight, President Trump announced his plan for rebuilding the Gaza Strip. And I have to say, the plan is certainly interesting to say the least. It is hard not to call it bold and revolutionary, because it certainly is. And it is, in fact, so almost out there and unique and unexpected that a significant portion of the MAGA base is kind of divided on this. Some people think it's a fantastic idea. Other people think it is really going to backfire, like it's not the best. Personally, I have the attitude on this of really wait and see, because when it comes to what Trump wants to do with Gaza, essentially handing over control of the Gaza Strip to America, hearing him out, listening to the arguments, I certainly see the vision, right? I definitely understand where he's coming from and why it could work. At the same time, it's hard to deny that this is also very risky. But of course, you have to also ask the question, is this really what Trump wants to do? Or is this a tactic to get leverage on someone, whether that's the other Arab states, whether that's Netanyahu or Israel, Iran even, whatever it is. So that's why I say ultimately wait and see. I'm going to kind of not really reserve judgments until the plan is actually implemented, etc. But nonetheless, I think it is important to kind of start by understanding what Trump's plan is for Gaza. So we'll tell you that in a second and show you what he had to say. First, folks, do us a big favor. If you enjoy the content, make sure that you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. You subscribing is the #1 way to ensure that we can keep doing these videos, keep doing this coverage, even late at night when we are just getting the word here of the new deal with Israel and Gaza. And with that said, here it is, guys. With Bibi Netanyahu standing right next to him, tonight Trump announced that America will be permanently taking over control of the Gaza Strip amidst these rebuilding efforts. Here's what he had to say. Decide for yourself.
A beautiful area with homes and safety, and they can live out their lives in peace and harmony instead of having to go back and do it again. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
That's right. So Trump wants America to take over the Gaza Strip, and that is certainly unexpected. Like, that's not what we were thinking was going to happen here. You thought maybe Israel would take it over, or the Arab states would take it over, or the Palestinians would go back and, reassemble in Gaza. But no, apparently Trump wants America to be in control of the Gaza Strip. And this idea was so unexpected and so out there that it seems like even Benjamin Netanyahu was not the biggest fan of it, which I also find to be a little bit interesting. But take a look right here at his facial expressions as Trump announces, we want the Gaza Strip to be the property of America.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
Yeah, so you see even Netanyahu's face there. He's like, is this guy serious? Wait, this was the plan? I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at facial expressions right there, but he seems to be a little bit reserved about the idea of the Americans coming in and controlling Gaza. I'll give my thoughts on it later in this video because, again, I think this is a little bit complicated. There has to be some degree of nuance in this conversation in terms of, like, is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Well, we have to see how it plays out. But I will say, I absolutely see what Trump's vision is here, because apparently he essentially wants to turn the Gaza Strip, again, American property apparently, into a Dubai or Abu Dhabi style kind of international city for the world, like you see in some cases in the Middle East. And he wants America to be in control of it. Here is him basically explaining what his vision is for America rebuilding and what he wants to do. His vision is for the Gaza Strip.
To follow up on what you were saying about the Gazans leaving Gaza, going to other countries, one, where exactly are you suggesting that they should go? And two, are you saying they should return after it's rebuilt? And if not, who do you envision living there?
I envision a world people living there, the world's people. I think you'll make that into an international, unbelievable place. I think the potential in the Gaza Strip is unbelievable. And I think the entire world, representatives from all over the world will be there, and they'll live there. Palestinians also. Palestinians will live there. Many people will live there. But they've tried the other, and they've tried it for decades and decades and decades. It's not going to work. It didn't work. It will never work. And you have to learn from history. History has, you just can't let it keep repeating itself. We have an opportunity to do something that could be phenomenal. And I don't want to be cute. I don't want to be a wise guy, but the Riviera of the Middle East, this could be something that could be so bad. This could be so magnificent. But more importantly than that is the people that have been absolutely destroyed that live there now can live in peace in a much better situation, because they're living in hell. And those people will now be able to live in peace. We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people. Palestinians mostly we're talking about. And I have a feeling that despite them saying no, I have a feeling that the king in Jordan and that the general president, but that the general in Egypt will open their hearts and will give us the kind of land that we need to get this done. And people can live in harmony and in peace. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, so again, pretty interesting, but very Trump-like after all. He basically wants to turn Gaza into an American-run city for the world. Now, again, what do we think of this vision? I mean, I see it. I see what he's trying to do. I'll give my full thoughts on it in a second. But first, I do want to also note this fact, which is, as he sort of hinted at in that clip right there, but we'll show you him kind of expanding on that. One of the conditions of this deal of America obviously trying to rebuild Gaza into something brand new would be that the Palestinians, who obviously were displaced from Gaza because of the war and all the other issues, etc., will not be able to return back to the Gaza Strip. Now, I don't want to say return to their homes, because in most cases their homes have been completely destroyed, but that's something that a lot of the Palestine activists and people on that side are very pissed about. They're calling this ethnic cleansing. We'll address it in a second, but first, here's Trump basically explaining that aspect of what is going to happen to the Palestinians.
Would Palestinians have the right to return to Gaza if they left while the rebuilding was happening?
It would be my hope that we could do something really nice, really good, where they wouldn't want to return. Why would they want to return? The place has been hell. It's been one of the meanest, toughest places on earth. And right now, I've seen every picture from every angle, better than if I were there. And nobody can live there. You can't live there. So if we can build them through massive amounts of money supplied by other people, very rich nations, and they're willing to supply it. If we can build something for them in one of the countries, and it could be Jordan, it could be Egypt, it could be other countries, and you could build 4 or 5 or 6 areas. It doesn't have to be one area, but you take certain areas and you build really good quality housing, like a beautiful town, like someplace where they can live and not die, because Gaza is a guarantee that they're going to end up dying. The same thing's going to happen again. It's happened over and over again, and it's going to happen again as sure as you're standing there, Peter. So I hope that we could do something where they wouldn't want to go back. Who would want to go back? They've experienced nothing but death and destruction.
Yeah, so with all of that said, hopefully by now you basically understand what Trump's plan is for Gaza, right? He does not want to just basically have all the Palestinians come back and resettle the place and to repeat history. He wants to turn Gaza into something new. His plan is hopefully the Palestinians that are displaced can be moved into somewhere else within the Arab world, and they can live fine and in safety and not be run by the control of a violent terrorist group, etc., etc. So guys, what do we think of it? All right, let's get into this. Let's start actually giving commentary on that instead of just explaining the situation. But first and foremost, what I do want to say, and let's start right here. Let's start with that last aspect of it. Moving the Palestinians to Egypt or Jordan or somewhere like that. I hate to tell you this, okay? I hate to break it to some of the people on the pro-Palestine side or whatever, but I think in this regard, Trump is absolutely 100% and objectively correct, which is that so long as you have the Palestinian population of Gaza moving back into Gaza, if you want them to go back there after this catastrophic war, whatever you think of it, whatever you think of the morality or the ethics, or like you wish that could be the case where they would want to go back to their homes or something, objectively speaking, guys, so long as you have that population of Palestinians living on the Gaza Strip, it is going to be a permanent catalyst for forever war. Trump is completely correct about that. Like, so long as you have this issue and it currently existing in the way it does, if you just say, okay, Palestinians, the war is over, go back and settle in Gaza, you know for a fact war is going to break out again. Like, use some common sense on that. Everyone knows this. It's an inconvenient fact, but it's true. Okay. So, people can call it ethnic cleansing. People can call it whatever they want, but objectively speaking, it's just the truth. So long as you have these two populations living on the same border, you have a permanent catalyst for forever war. And I don't think it's in America's interest or really the world's interest to continue fighting that war. And I think, frankly, regardless of whatever side you are on in this conflict, if you're pro-Israel, obviously you think that if the Palestinians move back into Gaza, you're going to get attacked like October 7th yet again, and there's going to be another war. But equally, it's very interesting on the pro-Palestine side. These people say that Israel is like a terrorist, genocidal state and all of that, but they want the Palestinian population to go back and live right on their border. I thought Israel are the aggressors here. I thought Israel like these terrorists who kill all these civilians. So if you're so for the cause of the Palestinian people, equally, why would you want to have your people living on the borders of a supposedly terrorist genocidal nation? I'm just saying, on both fronts. So again, that might be controversial. People can get really upset over that. I think in that regard, Trump is correct. I don't live when I deal with foreign policy, when I deal with geopolitics, I don't live in some type of fantasy land. I live in reality, okay? Ideally, yes, it's not nice to move people out of their homes, but guess what? They've been displaced from their homes anyway, right? The war has destroyed all those homes to begin with. And with that understanding in mind, Trump's whole point here that the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again. Oh, let's just try this whole thing with Gaza and the Israel border again and expect it to end differently than it's ended the last several times. Yeah, that is insanity. That should not be attempted. You have to try something new. And, before the election, even before this war, I've long thought, yeah, probably the best solution is for another Arab Muslim nation like Egypt, like Jordan, like any of the surrounding areas to take in the Gazans, like Trump is saying, even we'll help you build a place for them to live, whatever. But if that is successful, as a matter of fact, if you manage to move the Gazan Palestinians to somewhere that is safe and not in the crossfires of like a 1,000-year-long ethnic rivalry and religious rivalry, etc., wouldn't that actually be the best possibility for peace? And, this is something that's been advocated for a very long time. There are various reasons why the Arab Muslim nations have refused to take in any Palestinian migrants or refugees. But at this point, Trump is saying, okay, we're going to try to push Egypt and Jordan, etc., to take these people in. And then in the wake of Gaza, we will do something new. But what I also find to be very interesting, and the second aspect of this plan is that he does not want to hand over control of the Gaza Strip to Israel. He wants to hand it over to America, to which I say, it's interesting. It's a really interesting idea. So first and foremost, I will say, I do think it is objectively the smart thing to not let Israel single-handedly basically rebuild Gaza and do whatever they want there because, I think on many different fronts, if Israel just moves in and annexes Gaza fully, that is something that is going to be seen as very provocative to the Arab world, and you're at a point right now with the Abraham Accords, they're trying to get Israel to normalize its relations with other Arab states. You don't want to put that relationship in jeopardy. And frankly, when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu, I don't really trust him all that much either. I mean, the guy, you look at his politics, is basically like the George Bush of the Middle East. He was a big supporter of the Iraq war. He's been lobbying America to go to war with Iran for a very long time. Not sure I want him to handle the rebuilding effort either. So I think, in my opinion, probably the ideal, at least what I would do if I was president, is I would try to get the moderate Arab nations like Saudi Arabia to try to, they can handle the rebuilding of the Gaza Strip. Trump's doing something very interesting here, though. He's saying, no, I want America to do it. So it could be one of two things there. Either he's completely serious about that, we'll address it in a second, or he's trying to use this as leverage because the idea will be seen as so outrageous that nations like Egypt and Saudi Arabia will say, heck no, America's not rebuilding the Gaza Strip. Fine, we'll do it. We'll handle it ourselves. So again, that's why I say you have to wait and see before you can really make a judgment on this. But on the idea, would it be smart to rebuild the Gaza Strip? There's the argument for it and there's an argument against it. I really do see both sides here. So the argument against it is obvious. That's not our place, right? Trump, you claim that you're America first. You're going to spend all this money rebuilding Gaza. It's like, that's not our issue. Why should we be doing that? It could be seen potentially as a catalyst for more war or more involvement in the Middle East. Although, again, I would reiterate, I think letting Israel rebuild Gaza themselves would be the most provocative thing that could trigger more war. So America rebuilding probably a little bit less likely to start war than Israel. But yeah, you don't want to be sending our resources that way. But of course, the flip side, the other argument is that, well, as Trump is laying out here, right, if America rebuilds Gaza into this like Dubai style city, yeah, that's going to cost a lot of money up front. But, Trump's been trying to do this like old school expansion thing, right? This new manifest destiny agenda. If you can rebuild some type of Dubai style American city in the Middle East, one can make the argument, well, that could actually generate a lot of revenue, a lot of benefit for America. I don't know. My whole thing is like, again, I see the vision. I see what Trump is trying to do here. It makes perfect sense. The reason why I'm not going to fully endorse it or fully condemn it is because you have to see the details, and there definitely is a serious risk in this, right? Because it is kind of a crazy idea. Hey, let's have America take over Gaza. That could end in a lot of different ways. But you know what? In this regard, okay, let's just let Trump kind of do his thing at the moment, and we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what direction this ends up taking. But I will say what I do think Trump is absolutely right about. Again, as controversial as that might be, people are going to call it ethnic cleansing or whatever, but he's just correct. Unless you move that Gazan Palestinian population out of that area, have them go live somewhere that's safe and not a constant catalyst for forever war, you're going to get forever war. And no new wars. We want to talk about that? Yeah, we need to like try something new in Gaza, in that region of the world, if we want to have different outcomes. And one cannot deny whatsoever what Trump is doing right here is trying something new. So, I'm willing to give it a chance, is what I'll say, for sure. With that said, though, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below. And I'm sure, we're going to have a lot of varying perspectives on this. I respect them, because this is kind of an issue that's like, hey, we never thought about this before. So now we're all trying to like figure out, hey, what should we think of this? How does this sound? Okay. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on all of it. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.